Welcome. In this video, I'm going to go over my process for painting board game miniatures. So down at the table, I'll just tell you my process is all about getting miniatures table ready. What that means is they look painted and okay from about 3 feet away. So I'm currently painting the Shadows of Brimstone Revised Edition miniatures. Got most of them done, except the tentacles. So I've got those primed already. Just to show you what I mean by table presence from a distance away, you go, yeah, nice painted miniatures, but you get closer up and you can see some flaws, but they're still not too bad. So some different things in there. Just adds a lot of table presence to your game, whether you're going table ready or not. Everything to get these done is pretty much the same steps. You're going to base them, probably put on a wash, do some highlights, and dry brushing. So step one is make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Next, you're going to need some tools. So I've got a little container of water for cleaning my brushes off. Large assortment of brushes of different sizes and uses. Then the paints for primer, I use a flat white primer, but you can get pretty much any color you want. And then my paints, I use Game Color for the base coats. Then for washes, I use Citadel washes. So for the tentacles, it's telling us we're going to need basically 2 shades of blue, some white, brown for the dirt, and black for the base. So I've already taken these outside and primed them. Just trying to get good coverage around it. A lot of people also wash them in warm soapy water first before they take them outside to prime. I did not. So down to my painting view. My basic process is when I get home from work in the evening, I'll take them outside and prime them. Then I usually come in and I'll paint the base and get that done and let that dry overnight and then come back to do the rest. So I've got a light a little bit closer than normal. I use a pad of paper for my paint palette. So I've got 12 of these miniatures. I'm going to go ahead and just show you one painting and then do the others off camera. So make sure you shake your paint up well. And then of course, depending on how much you're going to be painting, get yourself a dab of paint. This is a beat up brush that I've been using. I like it just for painting large areas. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. I don't even think it's got a size on it there. Basically, I'll just dip in the paint and just start going around the edges. And I'm not too concerned about drawing outside the lines. Basically, I do want to make sure there's no areas left unpainted in between the dirt clods and the base. So just making mistakes, not an issue. If we've got more paint, we can cover that up. So just go around the edges. So I've got that taken care of. Then get the rest of the top. And then the sides. And since I'm trying to keep this black, this is pretty much the only part that I do 2 layers on. And I've got paper towel down just so I don't ruin my game area. So there we've got the base painted, and I'll do that for the other 11 miniatures. So I've got all the bases done now. So it is calling for the dirt to be a leatherish brown. And oddly enough, I have a leather brown we can use. The nice thing about doing all this in a assembly line type fashion is by the time you go through all 12 of them, the first one's probably dry to go back to. So now we're going to go for the dirt where the tentacle's coming up through. And once again, not too bothered about going outside the lines here. I'm going to be painting a tentacle wherever I mess up. And now I'm going to go over to the base one more time. So usually I just draw a line along one edge, then go back for the bottom edge. And one of the reasons why I like priming in white, makes the colors brighter and it's easier for me to see where I still need to paint. Just making some brush strokes back and forth there. And looks like we've got it. So I'll do the same thing for the other 11. So we now have our bases in black and the dirt in brown. And the recommendation is shades of blue for our tentacles, with a light blue on the sticky parts and dark blue on the outer edge. So I've got electric blue and ultramarine blue. I'm going to use those for 6 of them. Then we're going to go green on 6 other tentacles. So we'll get started with those. See how long this dab of paint will last me. And now I kind of care about the line, so I'm getting a standard brush for this. Bring the light in. Basically, I just want to stay away from the brown for now because I'm good with where that's at. And we're just going to go up. Just following the outer edge. So you can see there is a line there we want to keep on. And hopefully you've got some music in the background as I'm quiet here. And also a little shaky. And just in case you forgot, like I said, this is my version for getting ready for table-ready miniatures. I'm typically just putting on 1 layer of paint. I'll put a wash in for some contrast, and then maybe some dry brushing. Sometimes some details, but probably not too many details on this one. Just depends on how much time you want to put into this. I'm not a huge fan of painting, but this game gets played a lot with me and the group. So since I know how to get played, I've got no problem painting every now and then. But this will probably do me for a year. So almost done with this one, then 11 more to go. Said I'll be doing 6 with the blue theme, then in other 6, gonna go green. All right, we'll be back after I get the next 10 done. So we've got the sticky part done with the blues and the green. Now we need to put the darker colors on the back. That'll be it for the base paints once we get this part done. And I'm using this same brush again. Trying to hug the edge from previous paint put on here. Just doing my outline here again. So one side done, work on the other one. All right. So now just filling in the spaces. This does take some time. And super quiet. So once I get this one filled in here, once again, 11 more to go. I'll do 5 more with the blues, and then 6 with the greens. So there we've got one fully based. So now we've got some completed blue and green tentacles for base colors. So the next thing we're going to do is add some shades. So what that is, it's a watered down paint that will go down in the cracks and crevices to kind of give us some shading and texture to this. So for the dark blue and the dark green, we'll be using Nuln oil, which is kind of a black wash or shade. Then for our dirt, using Flesh Shade, which is more of a brown. Then for the light blue area, some Nightshade. And for the light green, just normal green here. So for this, I dip straight out of the bottle. I'm just about out of this, but I get a very generous coat on the brush and just put that on there. And I'm fairly generous putting this on there. But you can see how that just flows down into the cracks, and it's going to give it some shading here. So we'll do that to the rest of the minis, along with applying the other colors. So once again, I've done that to all of our pieces. So we'll take a closer look. So like I said, that just fills in some cracks, gives it some depth. And once again, we could quit here. We're going to try something else. We're going to do some dry brushing. And that process is putting a little bit of paint on your brush and then wiping most of it off and then gently brushing to get some highlights put on here. So on the blue ones, we're going to use some white on the tentacles. Then on the green ones, I think I'm going to go with some yellow. Then on the rocks, I'll put some bone white on those edges. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything else to the back. I think I'm good with those textures on the back for now. So for this, put a dab of paint out there. Then we're just going to put a little bit on our brush and then try to wipe all of it off. Then gently just press the brush, go back and forth over the high points. And what that's going to do is just put some white on the upper edges. See if you can see that there. So I'll keep on doing that, and I'm going to do, like I said, the yellow on the green, and then we'll add some light brown on the rocks and see what we get with. All right, so I've finished dry brushing. I did decide to go ahead and put a little bit on their back. So I found a shade in between the two blues I had, and I really didn't have a shade of green in between the others, so I just used that really light. So the end result with the blues, see if we can focus in there. Like I said, this is my table-ready miniature painting. Had some people ask me how I paint my minis, so this is it. There are definitely better videos online, but this shows my process. Priming, put some bases on there, then a shade, and some dry brushing and highlighting if needed. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.